After adding your materials, we should be able to end up with something that you can put your own graphics on, which will be mapped nicely like this, and something that you can animate also. So here we go. So this is how we left our box in the last video, with the materials mapped on there and all the panels being made up from extrudes. And we've got a layer set there where we've got the actual splines have been hidden by being turned off on the layer. So that's nice and easy. Right, now we're going to set up some animation. And to do that, I'm going to right click on the parent object. We're going to go to Character, Pose Morph. And Pose Morph is a very useful little tag. There's lots of parameters on here. It doesn't do much by itself until you start clicking things. And to begin with, because we've got a big old hierarchy here, we're going to need hierarchy. And the only parameter which we're going to be animating is rotation. None of the others are relevant for what we're doing, so it's fairly straightforward, which is nice. So click rotation and it will change to this box. And what you've got here is base pose is what we're looking at here. And as soon as we change any rotations anywhere, that will be stored in this pose here. Now, because of this particular project we're doing, what we want to do is to be able to select any of these panels that we've named and to rotate them, to animate the rotation of them. So what I'm going to do is take these one by one. You can actually just take the same name, go back to your tab there, rename this even. So back tab, and we know, because we've tested it, that all of these just, their final rotation would be 90 degrees. So stick 90 degrees in there, go back to the tag, and that in effect is set up so that you could animate now if you wanted to. But what we need to do, you see it's got an edit mode and an animate mode. So first of all, you stay in edit mode and you add a pose. You see that goes back to 0 because we're now going to add a pose for another object, which will be the next one in our hierarchy. So we'll go back there, highlight the tag, paste the name, and then with that selected, we'll turn that through 90 degrees. We're literally just going to do that for everything that's on here. So we'll add a pose, back, paste that in, highlight back, put that where we want it, which is 90. That's good. Go back there, add a pose, copy and paste, and on the top, make that 90. It's going to take a little while to do, but it's fairly straightforward. Copy, paste, highlight, 90, add pose, copy, paste, we need to unravel that. In fact, what I might do is put this in another window so we've got a bit more space. There we go. So add pose, copy, paste, highlight, 90, add pose, copy, paste, 90, add pose, copy, paste, make sure it's highlighted, 90, add pose, copy, sure it's highlighted. Take that to 90. Yep. Add pose, copy, and paste, and highlight, and 90. And add pose, copy, and paste, and highlight, select, 90. Are we there yet? Yes, good. Okay, now what we can do is we can hit the animate tab on here. When we do that, all the poses that we just saved, all those animations, are all stuck at 100%, which is great. Now to control these in an animation, it's actually quite useful to have them in the HUD. That's quite easy to do. If we just drag them, and I don't think, oh, I don't know, maybe you can drag them all, look at that. Yeah. Oh, no, we can't. No, I didn't think it did. So if we drag each of these poses, it looks a mess, but we can sort that out in a moment, onto our HUD. You can actually rearrange them later, so I think that's everything on there. Now if you shift select them, keep the shift held down, allows you to select them all, then you can right click and you can make a group. Oh, didn't want to do that. Yeah, so we need to actually select the object. There we go. Right, so if we right click on here and change the show to always, that'll stop it disappearing when we don't want it to. And then we can right click on here and display show parameter, blah, blah, blah. Refresh, we should be able to. Alright, we need to shift click them all again. And then right click, that's better. And now we can layout. So if we space them vertically, I think it is. You can always go backwards and forwards with these, it's not always obvious. I'm going to align them right, that's it, so that all the sliders line up. Yeah, so you can command, click and drag this around the interface wherever you want. There's all sorts of controls in here for how it's shown, different bits and pieces, but basically that's the interface you want to have up there. And then it's just a case of sorting these sliders out and animating. So if we put them all on 0, then we've got our basic cutter. So we can, the easiest way to do this, you can either fold it all up first or you can have it flat. So we'll start with it flat, but if you click on the dot here, that's going to make our first keyframe. And I'll keep this fairly simple. I'll go to frame 20. I think the first thing I want to do is actually sort of roll it round. So I want the base tab to be rolled around. I want the front, the top and the back. So the back, the top and the front to be animated round. So that gives us the whole box wrapped around, if you like. We can show that in action. And in fact, what I'm going to do, let's go back to 0 again. What I'm going to do is not animate, but just turn the whole thing over, just so that we can see which way that wants to be. Oh. fighting with the PSR control there, I think, so I'll have to put it inside another null, so I can then roll the null over. Like that. So hopefully now, that's it, we can roll up. In fact, I want it to be around the other way, don't I? Because that's going to be the back. So if I grab that, roll that around. That's it, then when it's finally folded up, that's going to be with the top on the top, and the back on the back, front on the front. Good. Okay. So, up to frame 20, we rolled it round. And then I think we want the these tabs to be in, so we'll do that on frame 40, shall we say. So that tab, not that one, not that one, there we go, and the back one. Right, so that's that bit done. Now I also think we probably need to add a stationary tab, if you like, for these ones, the left and right, so that they don't start animating from the very start, so they'll only start animating from here. So if I then go up to 60 and animate, I think for now I'm going to go halfway on that, so I'm going to go 45 on there, on the left tab, and I'll go 45 on there, on the right tab, and on there. You can do this how you like, I'm just busking it really. And then on 80, frame 80, I'm going to animate the tab here. But we want that to go beyond. I think we're probably, I don't know, let's try 120. Stick that on 120. So this is the joy of this this system, is that you can go beyond 100 and below. You can just spin these values round, and yeah, so at that point that's right. So now I'm going to go on to 90, I think. I will go forward a few frames and just complete the fold. Oh, what are we doing? There we go. On the ends. And these then want to be back to 100, because we don't want them to stay at 120. That was just to sort of get the tab into the box. And you can finesse this along the way, but basically that should work. So yeah, you see that's cutting through there a bit, but that's just an animation thing, so you can alter your keyframes to your heart's content. And that's how you set up an animation interface for it. And if you want to get rid of that, you can obviously uncheck always, and then when that's not highlighted, active object, there you go. So now it only appears when you click on the tag, and that's how you can set up the animation. Next thing really is to do your designs, get cracking.